I feel like we need to have a difficult chat right now about confidence and imposter syndrome and this industry. I'm struggling like pretty bad right now. When I finally break down what I'm struggling with, it doesn't make any sense. Ridiculous. It feels ridiculous, but basically, I'm obsessed with this book and I've never felt more like a fraud. So I have a game for us to play today. If I say anything that you can relate to, I want you to drop like a skull emoji down in the comments. And basically, I don't know where I am anymore. And sometimes I feel like we just need to see the evidence that we are not alone in this. So here's the thing. I'm writing the best book I've ever written. Like, hands down. I feel good about it. My character motivations are solid. The premise is good. The hotel is fresh and creepy. It's not just craft-wise. I feel like my voice is I feel like it's just working. I feel like I'm on trend for horror. I'm subverting tropes, and I'm making this original to me, but also with the familiarity of like the campiness of Scream, the ominous, creepy dread of Ghost Ship and The Shining, and I've also trying to elevate it like A24 films. I'm doing all of these things, and I don't know where the line is between am I doing enough and doing too much and just thinking that I'm amazing, and I'm not. I've said it before, but you need to have a little bit of delusion, a little bit of hope. I'm confident. Everything feels like it's on track in this story. I love this story. I could work on this story for years. I don't think I felt that way about my second book. Once I was done, like I was done. I did it in R&R, so like obviously I could go back and work on it, but it was hard. Whereas this story, I love going back and just trying to figure out how I can up the creep factor, how I can make it scary, like you don't want to look in a mirror, but not jump scares. That doesn't really work in books, right? Because you're reading it. You're not looking behind you like someone's gonna pop out behind my chair and like go all like very close to the camera. On to the actual point here. I'm the most confident I've ever been about a book. I have 13 agents who want to see this book. My craft is elevated. My premise is elevated. The writing is fresher than my second book. It stands out more in the market than my first book. So today's video is going to be a mental health check-in as well as a deadline check-in, and it's going to be basically like a little video diary for me because I have talked the ears off of my CPs, my 5 a.m. group who listened to me whine this morning about it, gave me the idea for this video because I've been creatively stunted with YouTube already. I think it's because I'm in a weird position of I'm kind of querying. I have multiple fulls out. I'm not getting responses on those fulls, yet I have this new book that I think is like the book, and it's just not ready. It's not there yet. Like I've got to put in more time, I've got to put in more effort, more words, all of the things. So you have this pressure from the last book that you don't even know if you want to debut with anymore, but I do love that book. I think it has a great message to it. Is it too familiar? Probably, maybe. I don't know. Another thing that prompted, I think, this spiral is on Friday the 13th, I sent a nudge to an agent who has had my full the longest. It's like, hey, just checking in, like, is second book still under consideration? She replied back, yes. But if you have your horror hotel manuscript ready, I would love to see that. And I get it. She's being strategic. I don't know, guys. I don't know. She doesn't want my second book, but I think she also really likes my writing and my ideas. Maybe she thinks like I could be an author for her, but like the book isn't there yet, or nothing has grabbed her enough, but I still show promise. Reading the tea leaves, like I totally get it. I could be way off base, but this is what I'm choosing to tell myself because that's what we do in this business. We just We have to keep going somehow. So reading between the lines, she likes my writing, she likes my ideas. I have not executed yet to get her to want me as a career author. I messaged her back just to make sure and said, it's not ready yet. I'm polishing. It'll be ready in August. Would you like me to wait to submit until you make a decision on my second book? And she said, no, I will review them simultaneously. Logically, I know this is a good thing. However, anxiety says something completely different. Anxiety says, no one's reading me. I'm never going to get an answer. I'm just going to have to wait and wait and wait for nothing. And I know that in the meantime, I'm writing and I'm leveling up and I'm learning and I'm reading books that are like a standout in the genre. I am putting in the work, but I'm not there yet. Setting the scene. This is my mindset. It is Wednesday, June 18th. I have 12 days to get this book done, ready for the next round of revisions, because the next round of revisions is going to be like a mini dev to send to my CPs. And during that, I'm going to be starting the querying intensive with Jenny Chappelli. I'll put her link below because she is fabulous, like an absolute gem, brilliant human, obsessed with her. But it's 12 days. There's a new deadline staring me in the face. All I can do is think, I've tricked everyone into thinking I'm a good writer. I've tricked my CPs into believing I can do this. My 5 a.m. group with snippets tricked these agents into saying, this premise sounds good. I bet she can execute. I don't know. Like, obviously I'm trying, but that's where I'm at. I am in the final stretch of this novel. I'm editing as I go, which is just kind of my process. It gives me a shorter timeline in terms of revisions because I do talk every step of the way with one of my CPs. So like if I get stuck in terms of a plot hole or a plot point, we have a brainstorming session. Like, we talk it out. We figure out what makes sense for my characters, my goals for the book, my strengths, my weaknesses, all of the things that you have to think about while you're writing. So I'm going into my last act. It'll be about, I'm hoping it'll be 20,000 words. I've underwritten this book a little bit, and I don't know if it's because it's a new genre and like horror just moves in a different way, or if I've just underwritten and need to go back and flesh things out. Either way, like, I'm prepared to up the word count in the next revision. But in this last act, I've got deaths. I've got a major twist. I've got a final image that I am salivating to write. I don't write out of order because I need to feel what these characters are going through in order to make it make sense continuity wise. Like, I just need to feel the vibes in the scene as it moves and evolves. Otherwise, it's just gonna feel disjointed and I can't do that. I don't feel like I'm a vibes writer, but I definitely need to be in the right feeling for it to work. I keep wanting to wear my glasses because I don't want to get a headache. But then, like, all you see is me looking at my own face, and that's not what you want to see. The point is, I'm on track. I've written 4,000 words. Now for the month, I've only written about 10,000, and that's fine. It's just been a busy month. Slightly behind, but like, it's doable. I gave myself a cushion at the end of the month. I've pitched this book for multiple pitch events on Twitter and Blue Sky. I have 13 agents who have requested to see it when it's ready. I feel so confident in my voice, in my premise, in my craft than I ever have before. And yet I have so much anxiety creeping in that it's becoming really difficult to just execute what I've already planned. And I hate it. It doesn't make sense. That's where I am. And I want to be as truthful as possible because I think it's easy to see the highlights when someone gets a deal or reaches a milestone. Really anything. I don't want to just show the highlights. And I think that's why a lot of people come onto YouTube, why they have started to be really transparent on social media. Of course, there's a line between only posting negative things, using the excuse that is for transparency. And I don't want to do that. Sometimes it sucks. And I'm just having one of those weeks. The day job has been super busy. I am in my busy season. I wrote the script for this video this morning at 5 a.m. because I hadn't had the creative momentum to do it. I've only written about 530 words today, and that's thanks to a bunch of sprints that are happening on YouTube, and honestly, I'm just so thankful for those. I'd like to reach at least 1,000. 1,000 is my minimum each day, and honestly, Wednesdays are my best days to work because my in-laws pick up my kids right after lunch, and I have a few hours to myself, which is why I film on Wednesdays and I stream on Twitch on Wednesdays. I try to pack everything that I can into these days so that I can be present in other areas of my life. But I've never had a moment where confidence feels so unsteady. I feel like it should be like a wall you can lean against and prop yourself up and like take on whatever it is that's right in front of you. And that's just not what I'm feeling right now. I feel like the more I believe in this book, the more fear I have in it failing. And on one hand, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. You're really devoted. You're really into this book. But on the other hand, do I have a chance at all? Am I getting close, or am I just telling myself that I'm getting close? I don't know. I don't know if I'm being overly confident, and I actually can't back it up. I don't know that. No one in the industry has told me that. I have amazing CPs. I have a wonderful 5 a.m. sprint group. You know, you can only trust your circle so much because at some point they just come to like care for you. It can be harder to pick up on what's not working because once you get used to someone's writing, someone's stories, someone as a person, I feel like you start to share some blind spots. That's just how it is. Maybe I am being blind to something that's obvious that I'm not fixing for agents. I'm nervous that I'm setting myself up for disappointment by being so confident in this book because the default is not getting an agent. I'm not the exception, I'm the rule, and I need to remember that. This is book 3. I have queried twice. I've gotten requests each time. My first book had 10 or 11 requests. My second book were on request 14, and I failed both times. I've been pretty vocal about querying. I don't share my request rate on social media. I do share them in Discord groups with people that I feel pretty comfortable with. I'm trying to share here now because there's a lot of videos that I've been watching. Like I'll queue up like 20 AuthorTube newbie tags, and I try to really curate the people that I follow. I want to follow people who are pursuing traditional publishing, people who write fantasy or horror or, thank you camera, something that I feel connected to. We could be peers on this journey. We could even be friends getting agented around the same time, asking for blurbs around the same time. Like those are the people that I want to build relationships with, people who are very serious because that's how I am. But again, all of my earliest writing friends have agents, have book deals. Some of them are on sub with their second book. Some of them are writing the second book in their 2-book, 3-book deals. And then I'm still here in the trenches. I've died twice. I'm truly, genuinely happy for them. They are honestly the most talented group of people I've ever met in my entire life. But it doesn't stop the voice in my head from saying, well, what about you? What's wrong with you? Why are you not getting picked up? If, you know, you've had their help and their advice and they believe in you. And even when I'm proud of what I've written, I still feel like I'm behind. I've missed a step or a lesson that I was supposed to learn, or I'm still making these egregious mistakes in my query package. And maybe book 3 will die in the trenches like the other ones. It's very possible, it's statistically probable, but going back to the YouTube, I want to surround myself with people who keep going because sometimes I get really attached to a YouTuber and they query 1 book, maybe 2, and they're like, cool, done, I'm gonna self-publish. And that's amazing for them. And I'm glad that they have the confidence and the money and the resources to pursue that. I don't. I'm not interested in self-pubbing. I don't have the means if I was interested. It's just not a path that is for me. But I feel like it's such a revolving door. I know that I preach persistence, and realistically and logically, I know that persistence is the only way through this industry, but there's like this Goldilocks type stigma to it. And I was talking with my CP earlier today and she got so offended. I understand why, but at the same time, when you've queried 1 book and fail, like that's normal. 2 and 3, it's like, cool, you could get picked up. There's hope at the end of the day for your inbox. Querying 5 or more books, I think there's a stigma of other people looking around and saying, what are you doing wrong? Which is ridiculous, right? Because if you look at these very popular, wildly famous authors, they've queried so many books. I know Marina, who just published The Hoove, M. Stevenson, it was like her 9th book or something. And I'm sitting here worried about my 3rd. Those are newbie numbers. But when the only experience I have is the circle that I started with and I'm the only one left, it's hard to remember that's not normal. and I'm not behind, but it doesn't help my brain get motivated to write. Been rambling for quite a while now. I don't even know how long. So let's do a project check-in super fast. I'll get back to writing for a bit, and then around 3 p.m. I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch. The only way I make it through some weeks. Cherry Coke. Coke, if you want to sponsor me, I'm here. Your girl's here. I am halfway through the last scene of Dark Night of the Soul if you follow Save the Cat. And if you're having problems understanding or applying Save the Cat to your own work, I would suggest going and watching Lizelle Sambury's playlist where she does a deep dive on each beat. What she does is absolutely incredible. I love the way she breaks it down. It really uses it as a guideline and not rules. This is gonna be my... That was scary. Like, that's gonna be my new picture. I'm hitting the emotional beats. Our final girl is alone. She is wandering around. She's feeling super low. She just had a friendship breakup. And by the way, we need so many more of those in traditional publishing. Give me all the friendship breakups. The voice is good. It's very Scream 3. Ambiance is very A24. Setting is very The Shining meets Ghost Ship. Campy and psychological and slightly elevated where it needs to be. So I'm trusting my voice in this. It's good. I know it's good. I'm still working to balance like tension and dread and action and when to push uncertainty versus trusting my main character as, a first person narrator. I want to play with theme and I want to play with things very intentionally. Everything that I do needs to have a reason behind it. So I'm working very carefully on those things. And it's terrifying that this book really could be the one. Because I think when you go into the query trenches, you kind of have to believe your book is the one, but this book feels different. It feels like every single sentence, every word has been thought through in a way that the other 2 books I've written weren't. I don't say that because I was lazy or because I didn't do a thorough job with writing or revising, because I did. I say that because this feels more me, more what I love to read, more than what I love to consume in terms of any kind of media. I don't know. I'm pushing myself. And I think it shows in the best way. If agents are keeping track of me, they are seeing that I am rising to my potential and surpassing it with each project. But it's terrifying how possible it feels. And that's the part I don't really know what to do with. What if all of this is just leading to another dead book? Sure, you and your agent can work with your backlist that you've written previously, like plenty of authors do that. But because this is a new book in a new genre, I don't really have a backlist if I go this direction. I'm okay with that. But I feel like once you're past your first book, it's like if you've watched Bridgerton, this is so not on brand for me, by the way. Once you're past that first book, it's like open season at the Bridgerton house where you feel like any moment the right suitor can come in and propose. But the more books, the more seasons you end without a suitor, a match, an agent, whatever you want to call it in this analogy, the closer you are to spinsterhood. And I know this is very melodramatic, so just go with me here. People wonder why you haven't gotten picked up yet. People could include agents. The longer my full is out there without an offer, the less attractive I become. The less attractive my project becomes, because they know that I'm querying many people. So do I even have credibility to be talking about surviving the trenches when I die every time? I feel like I'm racing against my expiration date. All of this to say, I trust that my CPs will not let me send out a shit book. We have high standards for ourselves, for each other, and I wouldn't trade that. I trust my 5 a.m. writing group. They've seen the book take shape. They have read my snippets of my first draft. I trust myself to know that I'm not giving up on this book or my craft or myself or my goals. I've written 2 books. I've learned from both of them. It's scary to believe in something this much, but it's scarier not to. And I'm fighting this fucking imposter demon. What a rambly mess. So final thoughts. I'm writing the best book I've ever written. I feel like I'm still writing in crayon. The people that I'm looking up to who are writing alongside me are pretending, or maybe they really do believe that it's like this really fine, fancy calligraphy. I've always wanted to do calligraphy. I don't have the patience. I feel like I've tricked all of them, including the agents who are interested in this book. But I also think that this feeling doesn't go away. I've been talking with one of my CPs who's been on sub for, I guess, a year now. And she's going out with her second, well, actually, she went out with her second book today. And we both know that what we're going through is normal. It's typical. It's boring, common even, expected. But we're both still learning how to work with it instead of letting it consume us and stop us from creating and finding the joy in that. I don't know if this book is gonna die in the trenches. The odds are that it will, but I also want the odds to show that I'm gonna write another book and I'm gonna query again, and eventually I'm gonna write the right book at the right time for the right person. And basically the stars will align. I know that it's the best thing that I've made so far. And I'm not done with this book or querying or traditional publishing or my goals for being an author. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. If you're in a weird space like I am, let me know. You're confident 1 second, thinking you're an absolute fake and trickster the next. Drop a skull down in the comments. I want to hear from everybody. I feel like seeing that we're all kind of in this void together is how we get through it. 'Cause safety in numbers, right? See you next time.